All right, welcome to our explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the poem Water by Challapalli Swaroopa Rani. If you're studying this for an exam, you're in the right place. We're going to give you a super clear breakdown of all the big ideas and key themes you need to know.
So let's start with this really powerful question the poem makes us think about. What if water wasn't just, a substance? What if it was actually a silent witness to all of human history? What kind of stories would it tell us about our societies, our struggles, and our deepest divisions?
Okay, here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll work our way through these 6 key areas to really get to the heart of the poem. Think of it as our roadmap to building a solid analysis, perfect for acing that exam.
First things first, we absolutely have to understand that for the poet and her community, water is so much more than just its chemical formula, H2O. The poem redefines water right from the get-go. It's not some neutral, simple thing. Nope. It's basically a living record of a huge social struggle. It's full of the pain, the tears, and the fierce resistance of generations just fighting for their basic human dignity.
Okay, let's get into it. The poem really sets up water as this direct witness, like it's been taking notes for centuries on social injustice.
And it immediately paints this picture of 2 completely different worlds, side by side. You've got the village, that's the privileged upper castes, bathing twice a day without a second thought. And then you have the Vada, the Dalit settlement, where just getting to bathe once a week is this huge, wonderful event, and every single drop of water costs miles of walking. This image is just wow. It shows the day-to-day humiliation. The Panchama, who was considered the lowest of the low, wasn't even allowed to draw their own water. They had to wait, sometimes for an entire day, hoping a Sudra from a slightly higher caste would show up and pour some water for them. Water here becomes a witness to this agonizing helplessness. And the injustice isn't just about systems, it's deeply personal. The poem tells us about a Vada girl who is drenched with water poured from far away, to avoid any physical contact. The very act of giving her life-sustaining water becomes an act of public humiliation, reinforcing this idea of untouchability. Now, here's where the poem gets even more clever. It zooms out. It suggests water has seen these kinds of divisions all over the world and throughout history, from the racial tension between the Samaritan woman and Jesus in the Bible, to even the small, subtle hierarchies within oppressed groups themselves, like between a leather worker and a weaver. But, and this is a huge but, the poem doesn't just leave water as a passive observer. It shows how water transforms into a catalyst, a place for active, powerful resistance. The poem brings up a real historical event, the Mahad struggle. Here, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar led thousands of Dalits to a public water tank they were forbidden to use. And by simply drinking from it, they turned that body of water into a battlefield for human rights. It was a moment where water literally became a symbol of liberation. The poem also celebrates individual acts of courage. It tells us about Suvarthama, a Dalit woman who saw landlords attacking a young Dalit boy for polluting their water. What did she do? She raised her own water pot in defiance. In that one moment, her simple pot became a weapon, a symbol of righteous anger. All right, next, the poem gets into water's incredible and sometimes terrifying power. It's both a life giver and a life taker. And it's the poor who are often trapped right in the middle of that duality. On one hand, you have the life-giving side. For people who have to walk miles for every drop, a single glass of water isn't just about quenching thirst. It's about survival. It's life itself. But then you flip the coin. That exact same element can become a killer tsunami wave, a totally unstoppable force that can wipe out entire villages in an instant. Water's power is absolute, and it doesn't play favorites. And here's a really crucial point. Water's destructive power isn't just in having too much of it, like a flood. It's also in its absence. The poem brings up the tragic memory of a village that burned to the ground for the simple, heartbreaking reason that there wasn't a single pot of water around to put out the fire. So, the poem's final section brings us right into our modern world, and it shows how water's role in society has been completely turned on its head. First, it reminds us of that incredible physical effort, the circus feat of balancing heavy pots, the aching muscles, the long walk. That was the price you paid for water. And then comes the big gut punch of an irony. The very same water that people fought for, bled for, and died for is now quietly, sneakily dancing its way into a plastic bottle sold by a giant corporation. And this is the final stop on water's journey in this poem. It's not a community resource anymore. It's not even a basic human right. It has become a global commodity, a product that goes not to the thirsty, but to whoever has the cash to buy it. Okay, let's wrap this all up. We're going to boil this down to the core ideas you really want to have locked in for your exam. This is the stuff to remember. You got to remember these 4 pillars. 1. Water as a witness to social injustice. 2. Water as a site of resistance. 3. Water's dual nature as both creator and destroyer. And 4. Its modern transformation into a commercial product. If you can talk about these and pull examples from the poem, you're going to be in fantastic shape. And that's our deep dive into water. We'll just leave you with this last thought. The next time you twist open a plastic bottle of water, just take a second. Think about the silent history it might be holding. What stories of struggle, what battles for dignity are dissolved inside every single drop.